Hello, it's your lock doc, Miss Jazzy here to let you know about crown thickening maintenance. Now, I know it's not one that I ever want anybody to need. However, if you do find yourself within an area of concern like thinning, breakage, or alopecia, like a random bald spots or spots plural, we also can assist with clients who are restoring their crown after assisting with an ill spouse or a parent. A lot of times, the toll that it takes on our body is that the hair begins to thin or grow in a different texture or different thickness than we're accustomed to while we are helping our family member heal. And so I have the pleasure of being able to restore crowns. And I've always been told I have growing hands. And while I definitely have been doing hair for over 30 years, I finally learned how to put it to great use. So when clients do have, whether it's male pattern baldness or thinning, I'm able to thicken the hair at the root. A lot of times I use locks like this gentleman has here. This is the result of crown thickening. Looks very natural at the root, and his hair is going from something like this to what we saw. So on the hairline, like this gentleman has a thinner hairline, I am able to add locks in areas where there were not locks. And a lot of times I do like utilizing extensions. Most of the time, lock extensions, because the client isn't going to be combing their hair out or brushing their hair. And so it does give the follicles time to heal and also learn how to bear the weight of a hair follicle on the scalp in that area, and in this case, a lock on the scalp in that area. So, with this gentleman, I'm actually transplanting some of the locks that he has in the back to the front, and I am utilizing human hair in order to create a base, as you see me doing right here. And I am grabbing extremely short hair that is very hard to grip. As I'm doing this, I am encouraging blood flow to those hair follicles that are being stimulated by putting the weight of the lock in that area. And also, I am allowing the client to have their confidence restored while we are eliminating a bald spot or space, thinning area, whatever you'd like to call it. And we're going from that to adding hair at the root. Now I'm adding a lock to that braided section right in the front, right on the hairline, which is where his area of concern is. And there's also an area of concern in the center, which we are restoring as well. And so, depending on which area has been able to generate the most new growth, I will go ahead and add a lock to that space. Or sometimes I'll just add the foundation in order to increase the blood flow to that space. Unfortunately, the way that we live our lives nowadays, it is not necessary to have hair. And so, whenever the body is going through something, even if it's stress or anxiety, the body stops diverting resources towards the scalp. And a lot of times, when we'll see thinning, breakage, damaged hair, and things of that nature when there is a health challenge. So I'm able to use crown thickening to bring clients from this to this, which is transplanting locks onto the crown in order to provide volume and then thereby increasing confidence and growth at the same time. And so we're reaching a couple of goals in that we're getting the coverage that we want and not having as much scalp exposed. We are going to style all of this amazing hair as well, because just like when an arm is broken and you put that broken arm into a cast, we're going to do the same thing with these locks that are healing. So while we did increase blood flow to that area, that does not mean we want that lock to be moved and pulled on, especially since the hair follicles that we attach to were so very fine. And we mainly want to increase blood flow to that space. So after the retwist, which came out wonderfully, I'm gently separating the locks there, and I am then braiding them. Braiding them does simulate a cast, so that the hair that is underneath the braid is going to be not only protected from excessive movement, the client scratching their head or leaning against anything. It's also going to be a growth encouraging style because all of the growth drops and itch oil that I put against the client's scalp in order to assist in reaching the hair growth goals are going to be absorbed not only into the hair, but also it is going to stay within that braid instead of being able to transfer as easily onto a pillow or headrest or anything else that my client's head may touch or client's locks may touch. And they can touch a lot of things because they're very long. And so that's why I'm making sure that I do the style right after doing the crown thickening with this gentleman in particular. This is not the case for every single crown thickening that is done. And in some cases, I actually do not do a style for the client. It just really depends on their lifestyle and also the length and thickness of the locks, because the locks are thin themselves and extremely long. So anything that they touch may have a bit more leverage to be pulled simply because of the length of these locks. I believe they're about 12 years old. And they have been taken care of by myself for the majority of that time. We've done a couple of transplants during that time, depending on the hair changing, how thick it is in certain areas, and we will tend to those areas that need the majority of the attention, if any. So hopefully you do not need this service and you are simply watching this video in order to encourage our platform and make sure that the word gets out for those who do need us. But in case you are one of those who need our services with this particular area of concern, this is called crown thickening. And this is something that we specialize in here at Jazzy Braidz Salon. We do crown thickening not only with locks, but also with braids, twists, and definitely extensions that are done on loose hair. We have a variety of ways to boost your confidence and achieve your hair growth goals. We'll see you soon.